Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker, here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, streaming on 1069thefan.com, the 1069 The Fan mobile app, which is free to download, easy to take with you wherever you are. Even when you're not in the broadcast area, you can still listen and tune in. You can also tune in and watch on
The Fan
on YouTube,
KLGN.
The Fan KLGN on YouTube. The account is The Fan KLGN.
Yeah.
That's where you can see us and
sometimes,
comment.
which is sometimes a good thing.
Yeah, sometimes, not always.
I got a new haircut. Does that look any better than the old one?
Oh, yeah, you're a little bit more shorn.
It's the same style. It's just shorter.
It's shorter.
That's all it is.
It's good. So a couple of different things we want to get through today. We will reveal the next player on our list for the top 25 Aggies for this upcoming season. We'll also talk about the Utah Jazz. They announced their full schedule today. A lot of teams did. That's been leaking out.
Got the whole thing here.
Yes, there it is.
I don't know if it was on screen. I can't actually see how much of it was in the screen.
You did pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. So which games are more exciting or which games are of note? Of course, they play everybody, but some games on the schedule.
Baseball used to do. They actually play everybody. Though baseball does it now, but for some reason they didn't.
Yeah, kind of like this interleague thing, and then it just became.
But then they'd only play like a few interleague teams. And but now I think they play everybody.
It's pretty much open. So, and then, we've got a bunch of NFL preseason games going on tonight. You just heard that at the top of the hour, and we're going to have a number of former Aggies involved in games today and over the next couple of days. But is Bobby Wagner going to be on any of those rosters? He remains unsigned, so we'll give you some of the details there, latest that we've heard or haven't heard on that. So let's first get into that with the NFL preseason. I mean, yesterday we did the things that must stay, the things that must go, and it was about the NFL preseason.
Yeah. You should know 8632 on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line, and I got to read this properly, where it says, NFL football is back today. I'm not going to say the next line with as much enthusiasm. It says, "Go Raiders."
No, come on.
I cannot necessarily.
You can't pick and choose the enthusiasm.
I cannot necessarily endorse that position. Of course, I know how to trigger every Raiders fan. Very easily.
NFL is starting soon with the first game kicking off at 5:00. Lions at Bengals. Also at 5:00 on the NFL Network, it's the Packers at the Steelers, and Jordan Love will start. And then also at 5:30, it's the Colts at the Patriots. 6:00 on ESPN Unlimited, it's the Cardinals at the Raiders. 6:00, it's the Chargers at the Texans, and at 7, Titans at 49ers on NFL Network. So there are a number of former Aggies involved on NFL rosters, a few that are trying to make NFL rosters, and some of which may get a chance to play today, actually.
Yeah, most players on the 90-man roster, if they're healthy, are usually going to find their way into a game. For some, it might only be for a few snaps, maybe only toward the end. So hopefully they all get to play, although maybe there's some starters who will play in these early NFL games. They might not get as much burn toward the end of the preseason. But yeah, you should get a chance to see several former Aggies. There might be some who don't play because they're, too good. Well, of course, Jordan Love will be playing a little bit. He's about the only
start.
one.
I don't know how many snaps he'll take, if it's just one drive or if he'll do 2 drives.
Yeah.
But
he might have one drive where he hands it off 3 times and they go 3 and out, and then he'll come in for the next drive and he'll go 5 of 7 for 50 yards and they score a touchdown and then he's gone. Or he'll just be on the one drive and he'll throw 2 passes. I don't know. It just kind of depends. Because usually they just have a bit of a pitch clock, or it's more of a drive clock. It's like you're in for 2 drives, and if you happen to throw 2 passes, then that's that. Sometimes that's just the way it is with your star level quarterbacks.
Yeah, or if they fail to protect him, then that'll go quick.
He just gets lit up on the first drive, and then the backup comes out for the next one. Is that still Malik Wells, or did they let him go? I think he signed somewhere else, if I remember. I can't remember if the Packers re-signed him as their backup. I haven't kept track. Come on, Eric.
Kept track.
Should ask my brother. He would probably know. Except I might be able to name more Packers players than he can, though. He likes the team, but he doesn't necessarily know the players.
Because they have the right color.
Yeah, that's the way it is. So let's get started with Bobby Wagner, because that's kind of the interesting thing. Because we obviously spent some time talking about how Bobby Wagner, he is on the cusp of the NFL tackles record. He's as long as he maintains roughly his season average that he's held over his whole career, if he gets anywhere close to that, he's going to break the record, I believe, held by Ray Lewis. And last year he had 162 tackles, which is fourth most in his career. It's not like he's slowing down, because his highest tackle season was only 2 seasons ago, his age 33 season, about the time I was saying he should be slowing down. And he very much wasn't when he went back to Seattle, made it back to the Pro Bowl, set a career high in tackles, whatnot. Of course, that's when he started playing a 17th game. That maybe helped slightly. But this is someone who can come in and be a contributor. And if he only gets like 100 tackles, like I think I need to check where the record is, but he's well within his ability to break that record. So it becomes does he play? Like, that's the question. Does he play, and does he stay healthy for an entire season? And he's done that pretty much every single year of his career. He's never really had major injury issues. But he's not signed, despite the fact that, as the early offseason was ongoing, there was a lot of expectation he was going to sign with somebody.
Yeah.
So he's 59 tackles away from Ray Lewis. Bobby Wagner's technically in third right now. He has exactly 2,000 tackles. So 59 tackles, and his career average tackles in a 16-17 game season is in the 140s, 150s. So he would probably break that record halfway through the season, maybe after their bye week or something.
Yeah, here's a guy who was still performing at a high level last year. It's not like
he's not slowed down at all.
Yeah, it's not like he's just trying to find a charity case and
this isn't a guy who
just to chase a record. This is a guy who can still produce. This is a guy who can still help a good defense. Yeah,
this isn't Frank Gore and Adrian Peterson at the end of their careers just desperately trying to hang on so they can chase the record. I suddenly forget. It was the former Cowboys running back, right? Who was it, though?
Former Packers running back?
No, Cowboys. Did I say Packers? I meant Cowboys when I said that. Tony Dorsett's name is coming to mind, but it's not him. He owns the NFL rushing record, but he just played forever. And Frank Gore wanted to break it. Adrian Peterson, obviously great running backs, but they didn't quite have the longevity or the Cowboys' offensive line to run behind. But so they were hanging on, desperately trying to play that one last season. Or you kind of also see Odell Beckham doing this, where he's trying to make a comeback, but pretty clearly washed, and he also hasn't been in the NFL for 2 years.
Were you thinking of Emmitt Smith?
Emmitt Smith, yeah.
Okay.
You
took me a minute.
Took you a minute to remember. Well, I don't remember at all, so kudos to you. But yeah, this is someone who is still a serviceable at worst, a serviceable linebacker.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe at this career, he's not peak, 6 or 7 all time, AP, first team, all NFL, all pro. Is he that peak Bobby Wagner? Maybe not, but he's still pretty good. He still will get you a lot of tackles, and he's a great veteran presence.
Well, and here's might be part of the problem is here's a guy who he can still help a team, but in this stage of his career, he can choose to be a little bit picky about where he wants to go. If he just wants to get the record, then there's probably a whole variety of teams that would be happy to have him. We don't know we're going to win a lot of games, but you can help us. Or does he want a chance to still win a ring?
Yeah.
And those teams that are chasing a ring, is there a spot for him? Does he effectively help their defense?
Yeah. There's a couple of texts in 8632 kind of, I kind of touched on this. First, he does say, Jason, Devin Tompkins, greatest USU wide receiver season ever, is fighting for a spot on the Raiders' 53-man roster, so you have to cheer for them a little.
Reasons to watch the Raiders.
And I kind of like Mendoza. I also kind of like Ashton Genty. Like, he was really fun to watch. So I don't really hate the Raiders, but I have my team. I have a secondary team with the Packers. That's because my brother. I also kind of like the Vikings. Like, basically all of the teams my family likes, I also kind of root for. So Packers and Vikings, apparently the NFC North, but
yeah,
but still.
Okay.
But also, and this is why I went on this tangent, because I want to bring up this text from 8632 as well, saying, Bobby doesn't strike me as a record chaser. If he's decided he's done, he won't push it. Here's the thing, though. Bobby, like, I agree that I don't think he doesn't want to come back to break the record. Like, obviously, that's going to be something he would like to do, obviously. But if he's coming back, that's not why he's doing it. He's not doing it just to break the record. But
otherwise, he would have signed with Arizona like a while ago.
Yeah. Or you mean, yeah, Arizona. Just somebody he can...
Just somebody to
be a starter
fill a
on.
spot and get tackles.
Because Bobby has said he wants to play, or at least from what I read online in some summaries, is that because there's a lot of teams that are wanting to sign him, like, and everyone who's reported on this, I forgot to dig up the original source of what they're drawing from, but they're all saying he has said he wants to stay, and there's a bunch of different teams that are saying, here's why the Cowboys should sign him, here's why this team, because I was going down all these articles trying to find the latest reporting on why Bobby Wagner hasn't signed with anyone. Everyone seems to want to sign him. So I think that it just comes down to he wants to go somewhere where he can be a contender. Because, he signed with Washington thinking they can contend, hey, they made an NFC title game. He stayed with them for an extra year. He, when he left Seattle, he went to the LA Rams. That's another NFC contender. Went back to Seattle as they were maybe trying to, that was a bit of a reunion, but still Seattle wasn't this horrible team. But then he goes to Washington, and now I think he's looking for a place where he can go and play a critical role, but also be on a potential contender. That could mean that, maybe there's a contender that has an injury at linebacker, because most contenders are going to have good linebackers on their team already. There's a reason they're contenders, and it's because they don't have very many holes on their roster.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily have this pressing need for someone like Bobby Wagner. But say somebody goes down, or maybe they just want to add a veteran leader. Maybe their linebacker core isn't as strong as they like. That's where I think Bobby Wagner can come in. If push came to absolute shove and he's desperate to play just because he wants to still playing, maybe he signs with a team a little bit further down in terms of contention. Although who knows? Maybe then he would just hang it up. Maybe he doesn't want to play for a crappy team and just, I don't know, because again, if he's not motivated solely by the record and he's motivated by his desire to be competitive and be on a top team, if he doesn't get his top preferences, that's where he may decide to just hang it up and be like, well, close enough to the record. That's not why I play. I play for the love of the game, play for winning. And if you can't do that, then you hang it up.
Right. And this isn't unique. This isn't a unique thing that Bobby Wagner's doing right now, or a unique situation that he finds himself in. Aaron Donald is doing the same thing. Aaron Donald kind of stepped away, but then he's like, well, maybe I'm not really done. But these guys are veteran enough, they've proven enough that they don't want to necessarily commit to a team right away because they don't want to go through training camp.
Yeah.
They don't want to put their bodies through it. They don't feel like they need to. They want to reserve their health for the season at large. And so they can afford to be a little bit held back and a little bit picky and a little bit choosy. And there may be some conversations already happening with some teams or one particular team, but Bobby is just biding his time until, okay, there's enough preseason that has passed. There's enough training camp that's passed. Now I can step in, get my body in game shape, and then we're good to go.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to go through all this other stuff that everybody else is going through because they're still trying to figure out positions and understand the speed of the game, yada, yada, yada. I've done that. When you're ready to have a veteran who can come in and help and be a leader, I'm ready.
Yeah. And 1818 on the text line saying, I'm shocked there isn't an NFL team who wouldn't want to have Bobby break the all-time tackle record on their team. And to that point, that's why, obviously we don't know for certain that this is what's happening, but because of that, there can't be an NFL team that wouldn't want Bobby Wagner unless they've got two incredibly solid options on their team already. So it's I'm much more in the camp of this is very much Bobby Wagner being choosy about where he wants to go, as you said. Like, this is him finding the right spot for him to land. Likely has numerous suitors, but again, wants to either he's just waiting out off-season camp, and maybe there's a team that he's already said he's going to sign, maybe planning on signing for, maybe a couple of teams that he's still deciding between, but he's just like, I'll just come in after camp, give me the playbook, and I'll figure it out. And I'll probably rewrite your playbook for you. I've been doing this longer than whoever your coach is.
7241 seems to have some insight on where he may land. Plot twist, Bobby Wagner signs with the Utah Mammoth.
There we go. That's, yeah.
When there's a defenseman,
I'm sure he can get another 59 tackles.
I'm sure he could move some guys around on the ice.
He probably could. You think Bobby Wagner can actually skate?
That's the question I don't know.
Yeah, that's the big question. If he can get around the ice, and then he can certainly lay some of those hits on.
When
some
you need the
people.
goon squad, Bobby Wagner's your guy.
You might need to have some a lot of backup glass panels, because a lot of those hockey players, they can put a guy into the glass pretty hard. Bobby's going to put him through the glass.
Yes. But what about other former Aggies in the NFL preseason? So the Bobby Wagner watch continues. We don't know where or if he's going to land somewhere. I suspect that he will. But
I'm fairly confident he will, but the fact that we're this far in, like, some of it may just be my ignorance of like the way the NFL like calendar and cycle works. I'm not knee deep, or in some cases, some people are chest and neck deep in how all this works. I'm not necessarily there, so there may be something I'm just ignorant of there, but it is a little surprising to see a guy of this caliber be a free agent this deep into camp. But there's always a chance that I believe that he's going to be signing somewhere.
But as we kind of mentioned earlier on in the show, there are a bunch of other former Aggies who are on rosters or are trying to make rosters. Certainly, we already mentioned Jordan Love with the Packers. We mentioned Devin Tompkins with the Raiders. But there are a number of others. We've already seen one in a preseason game. That was Miles Davis last week for the Jaguars, wasn't it? The Carolina Panthers. Excuse
Miles
me.
Davis for the Carolina Panthers playing the Cardinals in the Hall of Fame game.
But some other Aggies that are involved on rosters. You got that list?
Yeah, so I think I got 9. This is tricky. I had to use a combination of asking AI to find all these and then just checking a bunch of NFL rosters myself to double check in case, our
trust but verify.
In case our AI overlords decide to hallucinate reality. I was worried about a couple of these because I didn't realize they were still on rosters. But obviously you have the headliner, Jordan Love. Some other familiar names. Jalen Royals, obviously still with Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
There's been a few highlights of him in training camp. Of course, we saw these last year, and then he got injured, and that completely derailed his rookie season, both in that he missed some time and lost the opportunity to develop chemistry with the quarterback, and then he was just too far down on the depth chart.
So Kansas City plays on Saturday at 2:00 on the NFL Network.
Well, it's got one other notable veteran, Jalen Davis. He's, to be honest, a couple of years ago I thought he retired, but he's been sticking around with the Cincinnati Bengals as a defensive back, and he remains on the roster, and he's probably one of the guys who's likely to make the roster. A lot of these guys are kind of on the edge of roster projections, but Jalen Davis still going on his career in the NFL.
Yeah, Bengals will be kicking it off here soon. They start at 5:00 against the Lions tonight.
Now, there's a lot of other guys who are, as I mentioned, kind of on the edge of the roster. There are your rookies, Noah Avenger with the LA Chargers, Brady Boyd with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You mentioned Miles Davis for the Carolina Panthers. Those are our first-year guys, trying to make NFL rosters.
The Chargers play tonight at 6:00. And there was a few others that you'd mentioned.
I think the Jaguars play Friday.
Jaguars, they next play
Thursday or Friday. I think Miles Davis and the Panthers
Saturday.
Saturday?
It's Saturday at 2:00. And the Panthers, they play Saturday at 11:00. So a couple different games on Saturday. You got a game on what about Kyrie's Rowan?
Yeah, so there's a few others they're not rookies, but they're second, third, fourth year, whatnot. Kyrie's Rowan, second year out of Utah State. He's with the Denver Broncos, as was mentioned by one of our texters. Devin Tompkins is with the Raiders, trying to make their roster. You also have Wyatt Bowles, who is on the LA Rams roster.
Oh, yeah. So the Broncos, they play Friday at 5. Rams, they play, where did I see them? They are coming up. They face an opponent of one of the other Aggies. They play the Chiefs Saturday at 2. So you got a variety of different games involving former Aggies in these NFL preseason games. Pay attention to some of those. Some of them are nationally broadcast. A few of them are not. But keep checking box scores to see if they get involved. And on Monday, we'll certainly let you know how well they did.
Yeah. There's a couple of other Aggies that came up when I was searching. Though they're guys who were at Utah State, left to go to another school, and then went to the NFL. Jalen Warren is kind of one I kept an eye on for a while. He's in the Pittsburgh Steelers running back rotation. Kean Sloan, I hadn't realized he'd actually made the jump to the NFL. He's on the Raiders roster as well, actually.
Oh.
He went from Utah State to NC State, I believe. And then Jacob Robinson, who I think was only a redshirt freshman with the Aggies. Then he went and played for BYU. I'd kind of forgotten he'd ever even played for the Aggies. So that's I don't think he ever made I don't remember him making notable impact. Maybe I'm just misremembering his career, but obviously Kean Sloan and Jalen Warren had notable moments for the Aggies before heading elsewhere. By the way, 8632 on the text line, talking about Jalen Davis saying he got into a huge fight at training camp.
Oh.
And noting that Jamar Chase was shocked, said he'd never seen Davis get like that.
Wow.
Probably normally level-headed, but sometimes NFL camp just brings out the fight in you.
That's right. And sometimes that's okay. Get a little spicy. Show you got some fight in you.
Yeah, everyone wants that fight. Everyone wants that energy. So some coaches...
He's got that dog in him.
Yeah, he's got that dog in him. So you get the two reactions. The coaches that are like, yeah, I like the energy. Maybe direct it in the right place, but I like the energy. And then there's the ones who are like, you want to use all that energy? Run to the other end of town and back, Basically the two different responses to that.
All right, so a lot of NFL preseason games going on tonight, a few on Friday, and then a bunch on Saturday and Sunday. As we'll keep an eye on what's going on with actually no games on Sunday, a bunch on Saturday.
Weird for the NFL.
Yeah, so we'll continue to keep an eye on those former Aggies and how well they do, and on Monday we'll do a recap on their performances, and have the Bobby Wagner watch will continue through the weekend. Quick timeout. We'll be right back here on the Full Court Press with our next reveal. Who's the latest player on our top 25 Aggies for 2026? That's coming up next after this timeout. Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. Thanks for tuning in, being part of the program. If you want to weigh in on any of the topics, 435-339-0321. That's the Young Power Sports of Logan text line. Love to get your reactions, questions, points of contention. if there are any, with our points of view.
If you're mad at us for any reason, we only give the spiciest hot takes.
Yeah, right.
That's the thing that we are known for, is for being fiery. All these hot takes. So tell all your friends if they want to see the best Utah State hot takes.
That's right.
That's us.
That's us. Coming up next on the Full Court Press, we have been counting down the top players who we believe will be impact players for the Utah State Aggies this upcoming football season. We have the 5 of us who submitted ballots. They were all tallied and scored, and we're counting down from 25 all the way up to number 1. And today we reveal number 12 on our list of the top 25 Aggies for 2026.
Cache Valley Media Group's Top 25 Aggies of 2026 countdown continues today with the number 12 athlete for the upcoming football season. Defensive tackle Carson Tujay. Standing 6'3" and weighing 280 pounds, Tujay quickly became a force to be reckoned with as a redshirt freshman in 2025. He recorded 72 tackles last season, setting a Utah State single-season record for the most tackles by an interior defensive lineman. Tujay is just entering his sophomore season, but is already becoming an impact player. He is one of Utah State's top returning players from last year's defense and will aid the unit as it looks to make a big step forward in 2026.
Carson Tujay, he's a sophomore, but he's an older sophomore. This is a guy who has served a mission. Was originally committed to BYU, but played here at Utah State. It was his freshman season last year, and as a freshman got on the field and wreaked havoc at his position, doing things that are really not normal for a defensive tackle to do. He was a big impact player for the Aggies and a unanimous selection on our ballots. And I'm really excited for his development and growth and impact on that front 7, where I think it's a real strength of the Utah State defense. And part of it is because of the experience that Carson Tujay brings.
Yeah, and it's, when you see a freshman out there, you usually expect to see some, couple of flashes, and you kind of hope that he's serviceable, and you hope that the weak moments are covered up by the times that he's good. Like when you have someone who's a true freshman or a redshirt freshman in Carson's case. But when you are like a serviceable, and even in his case, a highly productive in terms of tackles, and most of his tackles were assists. He didn't have very many solo tackles. But it means that he's getting involved on all these tackles. He's getting an arm on the running back and slowing them down. So he's not just drawing defenders to help the linebackers. He's dragging the defender and slowing him down before he gets to the linebackers. So like, you're seeing someone who's able to be serviceable and even be, overproductive for a defensive tackle, and he does that in his freshman season. Okay, well, what does that mean once he develops? Because, that's one of those positions where you're a defensive tackle, you need to play with a size and strength that is just not natural. Like, it is not natural for human beings to be 310 pounds, 6'3", 310 pounds of like pure muscle. That is not something that happens on accident.
Right.
So it's hard to get to that playing weight and playing strength. And like last year, he was like 280 pounds. So it's like they need time to develop that and time to like learn how to play at that size. Like you got to figure out this big, how on earth am I supposed to move like this? So you have these players who need to grow and learn how to play at that size. And the fact that he's already showing that ability fairly early on, like it only bodes well for when he continues to develop his body and develop his mind as well, as far as learning the position and getting smarter and getting more experience. So it's just that classic. He's this good as a freshman, the clap all the high school guys do. Duh, duh, he's a freshman. Like, this is how good he was as a redshirt freshman. He should only be getting better to the point where he's not just going to be like a serviceable and productive defensive tackle. He will become a menace. Because where he was kind of short last year, 4 tackles for loss, only had half a sack. That's where he's not like making plays in the backfield, but that's where he is able to go up at. He's good in other areas. He's making tackles. He's getting in on plays. Now start creating them by yourself. that's where he really becomes, all Pac-12, these highly impactful players, the kind that other teams want to poach.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't.
Hopefully they don't.
That's the kind of player that he is able to become in the near future, potentially this year.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Carson Tujay. Just watching him last season, there were some games where he was making some mistakes and gave up yards to the opponent, but he learned from those, and he got better, and he was part of the defense that got better as the season went on and really made it tough for opponents to run on that defense last year. And he is one of those guys who is coming back, familiar with the system, familiar with the culture, working on his body, becoming smarter with understanding how games develop or how plays develop and how he fits in that. So excited to see him on the field for that Utah State defense. And Carson Tujay coming in at number 12 on our list of top 25 Aggies for 2026. It's besides countdown season for us, it's preseason watch list season.
It's watch list season, baby.
Yes. We've had a number of Aggies on watch lists, and we've been talking about them. Seems like they just kind of trickle out. They don't all come out at the same time. Each
and that's by design.
Each award wants its day. And another Aggie making a list, and only a few in the Pac-12 are on this list.
Well, there's only a few overall. I make fun of these watch lists for having like 100 players on them. I'm not kidding. Some of them have that many players on.
If you play the position, you're on the watch list,
basically. So there's the Jim Thorpe Award watch list. They sold out to a sponsor. I'm not going to say the sponsor's name because I'm petty. But the Jim Thorpe Award, obviously famous name in sports, but there's only 35 players on this watch list, and it's for the top defensive back in the nation. So 35 players, that's basically a quarter, a little more than a quarter of, Division I or FBS. And Brevin Hamblin is one of those players. Like, it shows that he is someone who can be an impact player as a defensive back. And it's shown where he's, first team all Pac-12 according to Athlon, and first team, all Pac-12 according to Phil Steele. Like any first team all Pac-12 preseason list, Brevin Hamblin's been on it. Had the Pac-12 actually done a media day, Brevin Hamblin likely would have showed up on the first team. So he's someone that's going to make an impact and is seen as one of the 35 best defensive backs coming into the season. And so that's actually something that's noteworthy. Rather than show up on a list that has 100 players on it, we're like, if you're returning such and such at this position, you're on the list. This is a much more exclusive list, especially where there are 4 defensive back positions, sometimes 5 these days.
Yeah.
And so that's 5 per team. Do the math. He's one of 35.
Yeah, 3 come out of the Pac-12 besides Brevin Hamblin. Simeon Harris, former Aggie.
Yeah, familiar name.
Currently on the Fresno State Bulldogs roster. And Jaden Mikey?
One of the Boise State guys, right?
Not sure how you pronounce the last name. I'm going to say Mickey. But plays for Boise State. So those are the only 3 out of the Pac-12. So those are solid players. Yeah. Brevin Hamblin is in very good company.
Yeah, these are all high-impact players, and that's where, Brevin Hamblin's going to be one of the top guys. Top guys in terms of production, 114 tackles last season. He's a big tackler at that safety position, able to play in the box. That's kind of more of his strength, is being a strong safety as opposed to coverage, but obviously he can still do that coverage. Got a little bit better than he was earlier in the season. He really struggled against those SEC teams. But he should be able to, again, be an even better player. Another year in the defense, another year of development, another year of adjusting to the speed of the FBS. And so he's going to be one of the Aggies' best players this year.
Yeah, last year he was drinking out of a fire hose, just trying to understand what's going on and how he fits into it. This year, he's drinking out of a nice, cool cup, how he wants it, because he's much more familiar. He's caught up to speed. The game starts to slow down just because of his reps and experience in the system.
Yeah. And, talking top 25 Aggies of 2026, his name may or may not show up. It does.
We haven't named him yet.
It's there.
But if we haven't named him yet, you suspect that he should be higher on the list.
Yeah, he's... You haven't heard his name yet. It'll show up and may or may not be fairly high on the list. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's do this. Well, we've got a couple of texts coming in on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line, 5338 texting in. The 5338 Sports Reeducation Academy and Think Tank. Hey, we haven't heard from the 5338 Sports Reeducation Academy and Think Tank in a while. So glad to hear from it because it's always doing its cranking out the analysis. It says it's proud to announce that this FCP has been added to the Cache Valley Daily Sports Talk Show Award watch list.
There we go.
Yes, we've put ourselves on our own watch list.
Cache Valley Daily. You'd also just be on the Cache Valley Sports, Daily Sports Talk Show. Or I think they're just saying Cache Valley and then Daily Sports Talk Show. Which, there's
limits. It's a pretty small number.
It's a pretty small number. You can count them on the left hand of a clumsy lumberjack.
And then 1818 texting, and just saw this from Braden Clark. It's a post that was shared on X.
He's looking at. He's saying that Jordan Love will become the third all-time in NFL starts by a quarterback. So if he avoids injury, he would be the third all-time NFL starts by a quarterback among quarterbacks from the state of Utah. So the three guys that you would need to pass are Bill Munson, Scott Mitchell, and Jim McMahon.
Interesting that he's not that far away from Jim McMahon.
Yeah. Jim McMahon didn't actually I know he's known for being part of those really great Bears teams, but he didn't really have a long or successful career.
No, he had one or two amazing seasons, and then
I wouldn't even say he had an amazing season. He was on a team.
He was part of a team that was
on an amazing season. Had an amazing season. And so the two guys ahead of him would be Alex Smith and Steve Young. Did Steve Young actually obviously went to a college. I guess Jordan Love's not from Utah. He only went to Utah
these are guys
college.
who
So
played.
these are guys who went to a college in the state of Utah. Jim McMahon actually grew up in Utah. I don't know. I don't remember Bill Munson or Scott Mitchell if they grew up in Utah. I don't know if Alex Smith did.
Alex Smith did not.
I don't think Steve Young did.
No, he's from Connecticut.
Yeah, but Jim McMahon, he went to Roy High School.
Yeah. Scott Mitchell. I know he went to the Utah, but I can't remember where he played high school ball. Anyway, it's going to take a while for Jordan Love to catch Alex Smith or Steve Young.
Yeah, those guys both had long careers. Steve Young, obviously, of course, and he had a delayed start to his career. So the fact he gets up to 132 starts for being a bit delayed, that was pretty impressive by him.
Yeah. So pretty exciting stuff from the former Aggie. I've got to take a time out here in the Full Court Press. Love to continue to have you weigh in and chime in or point us in the directions that we haven't touched yet. 435-339-0321 here on the Full Court Press. Hit the road, hit the trails, or hit the water this weekend with Live Young Rentals from Young Power Sports. Street bikes, side-by-sides, and watercraft ready to go today. There is still a little bit of summer left, so get out and ride and do it without the full commitment of a purchase. Call 435-755-7111 with Live Young Rentals. So, they sponsor our text line, and we got a text. Well, we got a few texts, 5338, reminding us that Scott Mitchell's from Springville. Okay.
Utah native?
Two true Utah natives on that list.
Both high school and college.
Yeah. 8632 texting in. Let's get each of your division winners and your Super Bowl predictions.
Let me really quick pull up the I got to remember. Basically got to line up all the divisions.
Yes, trying to pull those up myself.
Mostly because I usually forget like one of the teams in each division. Okay, so
start with the AFC East.
Yeah, AFC East. I'm gonna say the Bills. I think the Patriots are in for a Super Bowl hangover season. So the Bills and nobody else in that division has a chance to
I know.
win.
I want to pick the Patriots, but I can't.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with the Bills. AFC North.
Ravens. I think they're gonna have a rebound season.
Different head coach.
Still a Ravens.
Different head coach in Pittsburgh.
So maybe I should pick the Steelers because they finally got Captain Mediocrity himself out of the chair.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
All right.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. AFC South. This is a little more of a wild card for me.
Yeah, because I like the Texans. Like if Indianapolis manages to replicate what they had early last season and maintain it through a whole season, I mean, they got derailed because their quarterback got injured. Like they could challenge the Jaguars or the Texans. And I don't trust either of the Jaguars or Texans to be consistent year to year. So, but I'll probably go with the Texans.
I'm going to go with the Titans.
All right. Okay.
Sure.
Stranger things have happened.
Why not? They're building a beautiful new stadium. I know it's not ready yet.
It's not ready. I saw it under construction in Tennessee the other year.
AFC West?
Probably the Broncos again. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be quite back up and rolling this season. I don't trust the Chargers ever.
This one's tough for me. I know Denver is rebounded and they got a great head coach, but the Chargers also have a really good coach.
Greatest coach ever, I think, according to someone who's on the airwaves,
talking head on this radio station. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
All right.
I'm going to go with the Chargers, upsetting the Broncos. Okay, let's go to the NFC East.
Do they have back-to-back winners in the NFC East? Because my favorite stat ever was that we went like almost 2 decades without back-to-back winners in the NFC East, but I think the Eagles might have finally broken that. Maybe. I have to double-check. But if they haven't, then my rule is always root for anybody but who won the division last year.
I do not recall who won the division last year.
Last year was the Eagles. Or you mean like 2 years ago? Because last year the Eagles won the division pretty easily. So I'll say the Cowboys. See if they bounce back.
And I'm going to go with the Commanders, building some momentum with their roster and what they've got going there. NFC North.
See, I think it'll be the Lions. The Packers have some guys that are banged up, so they'll kind of catch on maybe later in the season, ideally. The Bears, I think the Bears are frauds. I don't know if I have any good reasons for believing they're frauds. I'm just going to say they are.
I think that's a pretty spicy division.
Yeah, it is. Like any one of those 4 could win the division, except for the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm going to go with the Packers. I know they were a little underwhelming last year. They struggled at some key positions, and I think they're getting some of those guys back. And the younger guys, or we should say inexperienced guys, got a lot of experience. And so I think that helps them this season to win their division. NFC South.
None of them. None of them deserve to win that division, and I'm not going to pick any of them.
I know there's controversy in Tampa Bay with some comments from the quarterback, but I still think that's going to be...
One time Baker actually starts to be lovable, he starts making a stink about things.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers.
All right. I'm going to stand by what I said.
Nobody wins. And finally, the NFC West.
anybody except the Cardinals. This is like the opposite.
3 of the 4 could be very
This is like
interesting.
the opposite of the NFC South, where like everybody deserves to win the division except for the Cardinals.
My concern is that the Niners have a lot of injuries. They're injury-prone roster.
Yeah, that
Seattle
that
kind of
substation, whatever.
They
Next to
definitely,
practice
yeah.
facility. The conspiracy.
The too much electrical fields. Seattle, I think, certainly surprised people, but played very well. And the Rams are always in the hunt or in the discussion. But I'm going to go with the reigning champs. I'm going to go with Seattle.
Yeah, it's hard to go against them. I think they're really consistent. They're a well-built team. If Sam Darnold is, obviously, if it's anything close to what he was last year, he surprised a lot of people with how good he is. And they have lost some crucial pieces, though. So I don't know. I know the Rams are like too like mainstream of a pick for me to want to pick them, but I think I'll go with the Rams.
Okay, so we've picked our divisions, but who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl in February?
I don't like any of the AFC teams because I think the Patriots are gonna have a bit of a Super Bowl hangover season. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. I don't trust the Bills to do anything in the playoffs.
I disagree. This is their year. They got a new stadium.
I always kind of want it to be their year, but then they never do
They're going to be
anything.
excited. They're going to be hyped.
And the Chiefs might miss the playoffs again if Patrick Mahomes doesn't come back fully healthy right away. So like, of course, they couldn't take advantage of that last year. So I don't know. I think we're going to have a surprise team out of the. I don't think we're going to see one of the old, the Patriots or the Broncos or the Steelers. I think we're going to see somebody who maybe hasn't been in a minute. It could be someone out of the AFC South, or it'll just be the Ravens or the Chiefs. I don't know. I never trust the Chargers either. So problem is, all the teams that look like they might be good, I kind of hate them in the playoffs.
So my pick is the Bills. You're a little undecided on who you think it's going to be, but what about in the NFC?
Probably the Seahawks or the Rams.
I've tried to look at somebody else, but I'm actually in the same boat. I know I said the Seattle Seahawks, I believe they'll win the division, but I think the Rams will be the team playing for the Super Bowl. Yeah,
I think you got veteran in Matt Stafford. He's kind of toward the end of his, like he's, kind of like last few years of Tom Brady. It's like, they're still really good. So you got that one last year. Make sure you take advantage of it. I guess like Tampa Bay Buccaneers era Tom Brady. And that Stafford's kind of in that era, and they're going for one last shot. And they were really close to it last year. So I think those are the two teams that I trust to be balanced. The Eagles are kind of also there. I don't trust anyone out of the NFC North to actually get to the Super Bowl as much as I think they're all good teams. And yeah, the NFC South is just dumb. So,
certainly I think the Rams' futures, I don't know that they totally swing on Aaron Donald's decision if he goes back to them.
They'd be fine without him.
I think that they certainly will be helped if he joins them.
I'd be surprised if like Aaron Donald makes like a massive difference one way or the other, because this is the guy who's been out of the NFL for a couple of years. I mentioned earlier about, the playing weight these guys have to be. Aaron Donald will likely have lost a lot of weight, which is good. He's not supposed to be that big. As I said, it's kind of a natural. So I don't know if he's going to be like NFL playing shape. He's still Aaron Donald. Mm-hmm. And he was always kind of small anyway. He was just that good.
He was very effective.
Everyone else say, he's too small. It's like, well, that's just more about skill issues.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any skill issues. So, I think, you see I'll lock in the Rams against I'll say the Bills. I say I hate them, but I'm gonna actually root for them.
Copycat.
Oh, is that what you went with?
That's what I went with.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Rams and Bills.
I'm gonna change mine then. I'm gonna say the Seahawks. I'm gonna have them going to back-to-back Super Bowls, and I'll say the Broncos.
Okay, I could see it. I could see that. I've got a few more texts that have come in, but we need to take a timeout. So we'll be right back here on the Full Court Press.
hey, if you need a new pair of wiper blades, and turns out you actually do need those around here.
Today it was coming down hard for a while there.
Yeah, it came down pretty hard. So if you found out that you need new wiper blades because of the storm today, head on over to Napa Auto Parts. They can get you a replacement pair. And if you're incompetent with cars like me, they can even replace them for you. So check out Napa Auto Parts.
Got a couple of texts rolling in on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line, 5338, saying McMahon's high school career ended in Utah, but started in the California Bay Area.
I did not know that. A968 also saying that Jim McMahon played for Roy High. But that's what I said. That was like the one thing I actually knew was that Jim McMahon played for Roy. But I only knew that because I remember seeing a story that Roy High School did like it was like an anniversary of or something. They were honoring Jim McMahon.
Yeah, they've done some things to honor him and show appreciation for his time there.
Yeah.
What he did after the fact.
Were they like really good when he was there? I imagine he was. He was a pretty good quarterback.
He was a pretty good quarterback.
He went to BYU. So
speaking of quarterbacks, some controversy in the NFL and college level. Jaden Daniels
throwing an absolute toddler fit.
Yeah, it's total tantrum here. Like LSU was given his number to another incoming quarterback, and he's
a corner.
A corner,
I believe
excuse me.
A corner.
And he's just stomping his feet like, you can't do that. That was my number.
Yeah. And like he won a Heisman, so like a lot of colleges will like automatically retire your number if you get a Heisman. And Jaden Daniels had obviously an amazing season. And LSU, I don't know if they like officially retired, but like Joe Burrow's number, his number 9 is no longer in circulation. But like
Burrow won a Heisman and a
national championship, one of the greatest college teams of all time. So it's like, like you need to take these things as an honor, not as a requirement. And yeah, he sends this like cease and desist saying LSU can't use his name, image, and likeness anymore. It's like, dude, that is just such pathetic loser energy.
Yeah, so petty. It just makes him look really small. It's like you were this giant of a person in that community because of what you did, and they regarded you and held you in high regard and appreciated what you did. And the school assigns your number to somebody else, and you do this, and they're like, okay, never mind. That's just really, really weak.
Yeah, it's just loser stuff. So we'll see. Maybe Jaden Daniels will try and make up now that because I think he expected everyone to be on his side. Like maybe he expected LSU fans to be on his side, but everyone I have seen has been like, yeah, that's like a loser move.
Yeah, they don't want him to use his image or his likeness in any promotional materials or anything. He wants to be totally divorced of LSU because his number went to somebody else.
Yeah, and that's like I've never understood why. Like I kind of understand, but like the attachment people have to the number, like they get really weird about their attachment to a number. And it's just kind of stupid.
Oh, kind of funny. All right, a lot more to come here on the Full Court Press. Stick around. Next hour, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. It's the Full Court Press, hour number 2. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker, here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, streaming on 1069thefan.com, the 1069 The Fan mobile app, also video streaming on The Fan KLGN on YouTube, where you can drop in a chat, be a part of the show, and you can text in on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line as well, 435-339-0321 to be a part of the program today. Last hour, Aggies in the NFL, revealing our latest Aggie and our top 25 for this upcoming season. We revealed the number 12, Carson Tujay, the defensive tackle for Utah State. Some former players in the state, quarterbacks that played in the state and how many snaps they've got in the NFL. Jordan Love is approaching.
Starts they have.
Yeah, how many starts they've had, and Jordan Love coming in, approaching number 3.
Yeah, if he has a fully healthy season, he should jump to third. Basically, join a pretty solid group of former Utah College. Basically, have one from BYU, one from Utah, one from Utah State.
Yeah,
nice little trifecta.
That's nice. But shifting gears a little bit, this hour, the NBA released its Christmas Day schedule. They released their opening day schedule just earlier this week. And today we finally find out the full schedule for every team. And so we really don't care about Philadelphia or New York, what their schedules look like, but we are interested in what's going on with the Utah Jazz, though some people may be interested to know when the Jazz do play those specific teams.
Yeah, and this is finally a year where we can actually start looking at the Jazz in the lens of maybe how can the schedule work for them, because they're actually trying to win this year. They're not looking to lose and try and maximize their attaining potential. So this is one where it's like, okay, let's look at which are the toughest stretches because we want them to actually win in these stretches. We look at which areas are, going to be maybe rest periods when they maybe play teams that are projected to be a little bit lower in the standings, so they could be easier to beat. You also look at home stands, road stands. What's the balance between those two? So different things that we can look at. But yeah, obviously, when do the Jazz play the toughest teams in the NBA? And we look at those, say, all right, can they overcome those challenges? For instance, looking at when the Jazz play the reigning champion New York Knicks, believe New Year's Adam, December 30th.
December 30th.
Is they'll be hosting the reigning champions, and then they'll be on the road, or do they go on the road first? I was trying to scroll through. I had.
They will actually face them the week before in New York. On Christmas Adam. Christmas Adam in New York at 5:30. So it's a little bit earlier tip off, and then New Year's Adam on December 30th in Salt Lake City.
And that's part of it. And that earlier trip to New York is going to be part of a pretty brutal 3-game stretch. I'd say it's a 4-game road trip, but the first one's against Chicago. The king of mediocrity
lately.
These days. But then they're at Boston and powerhouse Neemias Queta. Of course, they'll be without Jaylen Brown, so we'll see how tough they are without him. But then they're going to be at Cleveland, obviously Donovan Mitchell, but Cleveland,
powerhouse Sam Merrill.
Powerhouse Sam Merrill, I should say. Most important player on the team. And then New York and powerhouse Jordan Clarkson.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, so for those curious, Christmas Adam, that's December 23rd.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with the joke.
Because Adam came before Eve, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. If you're not familiar, the uninitiated. But the Utah Jazz season begins officially on October 21st, and they are going to be opening on the road at Memphis. Memphis is a remade team, and a lot of uncertainty just what that team's going to look like. A lot of hopes on Cameron Boozer to see how he can do, and Edey, that pairing of young players, can they really take that team somewhere? But I would suspect the Jazz should be in the better position in that game. Then their first home game is October 23rd. It's just the next game on the calendar, and that's when the Pelicans come to town. That'll be a 7:30 tip, October 23rd in Salt Lake City.
Missed the fact that the game at Memphis can be a Jaren Jackson Jr. reunion.
Oh, that's right. Yes, it will.
That might be the most important part of that game.
Yes, it will. Very much. Utah does have a couple of preseason games. Now, they're doing a lot of remodeling in the arena, so they know they've got to get it done by October 6th. That's their hard deadline.
Or maybe do they do
I don't know if the Mammoth will have a preseason game in before then, but they're pretty similar.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. Yeah, if they can't do anything with the Mammoth, I don't know what they do there, but like I guess if push came to shove, they could do a preseason game in like the Huntsman Center. So
yeah, but
that's where they held the summer league. But yeah, that's you pretty much want to have all those renovations done by October 6th. So TikTok.
Yeah, the first preseason game will be at Denver on October 4th, and then they'll face Denver again in Salt Lake City on October 6th. They'll have a game against the Spurs on October 12th, and then finish the preseason on the road at Phoenix on October 16th. And then, as we mentioned, it really gets going on October 21st.
Yeah, and then you had a pretty good homestand starting the season. Obviously, first game is on the road at Memphis, but then it's 5 straight on the road. Mix of
at home.
At home. Mix of good and bad and mediocre because you got New Orleans, Los Angeles. We'll see how Los Angeles is kind of remade without LeBron James. Obviously, still have Luka Doncic, so you're
Walker Kessler coming back.
So that's a reunion for him.
And that's an early game. It's a 3:00 tip time in Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's
it makes me
weird.
think that might be a nationally or internationally broadcast game.
That's weird. They don't have it listed as one of the TV games.
No, this schedule doesn't announce well, there are some TV.
Yeah, there's some TV games that are announced. The Jazz have 6 nationally televised games. 2 of them against the Rockets for some reason, but those can obviously change. Although usually not early in the season. It's usually late in the season they start deciding to swap things up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they'll home against New Orleans, home against the Lakers, as you mentioned, Walker Kessler reunion. Memphis will come back to Utah, so you're going to play Memphis twice in the first 4 games. Then you're going to play San Antonio. Obviously, that's a really tough team, reigning Western Conference champions. Then you get to play Portland, who aren't nearly as good. So after a 5-game homestand, you got a 4-game road trip, and you start that out by playing San Antonio against. They're going to have faced 2 teams twice in like their first 8 games.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This early part of the schedule, there are teams that the Jazz will face there and home and in pretty quick succession within a matter of weeks. Have the rematch games with some of these teams, and for some, a matter of days.
Yeah, and neither of them are division teams because like you play the teams in your division a lot, obviously. But San Antonio and Memphis aren't in the same division as the Jazz.
I know a lot of people are wondering, what about the NBA Cup? What's the schedule like
Eric,
for the Jazz in the NBA Cup?
I desperately want to know when they're playing the NBA Cup. That is the most important thing that happens in the entire regular season.
It will begin November 6th on the road at Dallas. Then their next game, they're all on Fridays. Then their next one will be the week later at Houston. And then on November 20th, they'll be home hosting Phoenix. And then on November 27th, they will host Denver. Those are the 4 games for the NBA Cup, at least the guaranteed games for the Jazz.
I think that, if the Jazz are able to have a kind of resurgent season and be kind of a surprise playoff team, the NBA Cup is something that they could actually maybe excel, if they're hitting their stride at the right time.
It's an interesting collection of teams for them to face.
These are all beatable. I know Denver's got Nikola Jokic, but they've kind of been struggling to be the world beater, the really good team that obviously was able to win the NBA title a few years ago. Phoenix is struggling to figure out what the heck they are. They still got Devin Booker though. Houston, still young, up and coming, just inconsistent. That's kind of their problem. Dallas, they're also young. Yes, they got Cooper Flag, but it's still a young team.
They really struggled last year.
So it's and obviously the Jazz, they're young and experienced as well. I don't want to say that the Jazz are definitely the best team, but if the Jazz are that surprise team that we're hoping they are, this is actually the kind of thing where they can have a little bit of fun early in the season and maybe generate some positive momentum. Does winning the NBA Cup mean anything? Not necessarily, because everyone almost makes fun of the team that wins the NBA Cup. It's almost like a joke prize. It's like a white elephant gift. Yeah, you won the NBA Cup this year. Hang the banner. Except nobody's ever hung a banner because they're we don't actually care.
Doesn't really mean much to the teams or the players.
But it's it's something that could be maybe a little bit of fun. It's the kind of thing that teams in Utah's situation could see as a bit of a goal, like for the fans, like, hey, let's maybe try and win the NBA Cup, like have some kind of hardware. I don't know if anybody will actually see it that way, but who knows? Maybe it could happen.
Yeah, I mean, every game matters now for Utah, but the NBA Cup puts it to a little bit different level.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
It gives you hardware.
You still want to win the game.
It gives you hardware for winning those 4 specific games.
Yeah,
or I
just
guess like 6 or 7
random games on the schedule. But it could prove to be like, okay, this is a game we're going to dial it in a little bit more. I don't know that it really matters
actually does
like that. But
you have to dial it in a bit more because you have to not look at the floor.
yeah, yes.
You have to learn how to not look at the ground you're playing on.
Interesting scheduling note. The Jazz will play the LA Lakers 3 times within the first few weeks. Once in Salt Lake and then twice in that first time will be in October, early in the schedule. They play them twice in November within a week of each other. They play the Clippers, then the Lakers, come home to host Phoenix in the NBA Cup, host Dallas, and then go back to the Lakers once again. So a lot of chances in a pretty quick succession there for the Jazz and the Lakers.
They play Phoenix in quick succession. Like they play LA, then go to Phoenix, then they play LA again. They will go to Denver, then they'll be back to Phoenix.
Yeah, a week and a half later, they host Phoenix one more time.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of these are stacked. Of course, that's just kind of the way these work. Like it ends up kind of being a quirk, but it's like it's basically inevitable that these kind of things are going to happen. Because as I've said before, I do not envy the people. At this point, they probably just punched into a computer, but like I don't envy the people who have to make a coherent schedule for all 30 NBA teams that try to even out as best they can, travel, back-to-backs.
And there are a number of these teams with their venues are also occupied by an NHL franchise.
Yeah, or there's concerts and things like that they have to schedule around. So it's like that's like, thank heavens for computers, because they can probably just like code things in, all the different things they're looking for, and then say, all right, spit out a schedule, do some manual review, and then hand that out. Because that is a thing that doing it by hand is a mess. And
but it does seem that there is some degree of emphasis on facing teams pretty close together on the calendar.
I don't know if that's really an emphasis. I think that's just a thing that kind of has to happen. Because I feel like one of the bigger emphasis, I mean, some degree playing teams in quick succession, maybe that kind of happens maybe if, I don't know if there's a travel thing involved, but like they're just trying to, I think the biggest emphasis that has been put on the schedule in recent years has been travel and, helping players in terms of, if you're going to be on a road trip, well, let's do the full road trip. If you're going to be at and make sure you have homestands in between to give you a chance to have a pit stop. And when you do a road trip, it's like all on the East Coast and like within one time zone, or maybe you jump back one time zone. Like, when they go on that road trip I mentioned in December, it's Chicago, Boston, Cleveland, New York. That's all pretty well in a roughly geographical area. So that, they're going to play Brooklyn, Toronto, Detroit in a 3-game road trip. They're all, well, is Toronto Western Canada, or is it?
Toronto is in the East.
Okay. So it's all, for a second I was like, wait a minute, did I actually remember my Canadian geography? So they're all roughly in an area. So like that's kind of one of the bigger emphasis we've seen, although they're not perfect at it.
No, but
they can't be perfect
a number of cases here. Memphis, they'll play home and away within a week's time. And the Lakers, they'll play them back, in within a week's time. And there's another time in February they play Houston within a week's time. They play New York within a week's time in December. So there are times that, and I actually like this. I'd rather see the Jazz play a team and then see that team again, not that far away, so we can see, okay, this is what they did last time. We'll see what kind of nuance or change we can make this time. In contrast to maybe you played a team in November, the next time you see them is not until March, because your team can be wildly different. Because there can be trades, not free agency, but there can be trades and injuries, and things could be look very different. And momentum, is this team trying to tank? Are they trying to win? So I like the fact that this schedule, it's not all the time, but there does appear to be an emphasis that if you're going to play somebody, you're going to see them again without too much gap between the last time you faced them.
Well, there's at least 3 times in the schedule they play teams back-to-back. They play Phoenix back-to-back in January. They play I saw the other one. Where was it? Oh, they play Brooklyn back-to-back in January, and then toward the end of the season, they play Portland back-to-back. So that's not necessarily back-to-back days, but back-to-back
in successive
opponents.
games.
I think in each one, there's at least one day in between those. Although like they're playing Phoenix back-to-back on the road, and there's a day in between, so just stay at the same hotel.
Yeah. Don't go too far. For those wondering, we already talked about the reigning champs, the New York Knicks. When will they be in Salt Lake? For those who were really excited about LeBron James, Philadelphia will be making its appearance in Utah. You have to wait until the end of March. They'll be there on March 23rd in Utah. Then the Jazz.
I've never cared less about a player coming.
The season concludes. Regular season concludes on April 11th. On the road at Golden State.
It'll be interesting because the schedule, it depends on a few of these teams because there are some tough teams toward the end of the schedule. And this is when the Jazz are going to be fighting for
making a
playoff
push.
Spot. Are they going to be in the play-in?
Are they a home team? Are they a road team? Are they going to play in?
Yeah, are they going to be in the play-in? Or I think they'll be either in the play-in or like just out, just above.
Are they secure in the playoffs?
Yeah, like that's kind of what they're going to be fighting for this stage of the season. That's when they're playing Philadelphia twice in March. So that's a tough team. They got to play the maybe Kawhi Leonard Toronto Raptors. But they also play
Oklahoma City twice.
Yeah, they play Oklahoma City, but they're also playing like Atlanta. That's when they're playing Portland back-to-back. You got New Orleans in there. You got L.A., who now is missing Kawhi Leonard. Golden State's, I don't know if they're still going to be relevant. Maybe they'll get back on the up and up, or maybe they'll still be kind of themselves fighting for like that. Actually could be an interesting thing where maybe both the Warriors and the Jazz are fighting for spots in the play-in. Maybe the difference between having to win one game or being in the 9-10 matchup where you have to win two games. So there's some tough games, but also some very winnable games when you go through March and into early April. It's basically either a kind of expecting this to be easier, or it's Oklahoma City in the 76ers. There's almost nothing in between except for like Charlotte.
Charlotte's improving.
Yeah, they're improving. But I don't know, who knows if they'll be consistent year to year.
Yeah, very true. So the All-Star break is in February. The Jazz will have off from February 18th through the 24th. So they play against Denver on the 17th, and then the Clippers on the 25th. Both of those are road games. Jazz have a little bit of a break there. But the NBA season is now set. Utah Jazz schedule is out. And start looking at tickets if you're interested in getting some of these games, some of these notable teams that are going to be coming into Salt Lake. I don't know if you plan on making any road trips to see any of these teams, but as you mentioned too, there's a number of games that will feature the Jazz on national broadcasts. And their game they got a couple games in Los Angeles, a game hosting Houston. So there's a couple of games just kind of smattered here and there throughout the schedule where the Jazz will be featured on national TV.
Yeah, and some of those could very easily change, but hopefully they'll at least be able to be featured on national TV a lot. I think I like to see, like, one of the things I've seen and I like is that the Jazz are starting to be propped up as, one of the, the NBA League Pass, like, one of the obviously, because that's like, if you're a League Pass team, like you're one of the favorites, that means the NBA junkies like to watch your team. So obviously those are the people, if you got that League Pass, it means you're watching every team. You're not just camping the nationally televised games and that's who you're watching that particular day, which is kind of how I watch the NBA, although I should watch NBA highlights as Adam Silver intended. That's how you're supposed to follow the NBA.
Just the highlights. Yeah. Don't worry about the whole game.
But yeah, it means that like people can be hyped for your team and that there will be people who are actually starting to pay attention, because the tone around the Jazz for 3-4 years, however long it's been, it feels like 84 years, but like it's okay, this Jazz team has a lot of interesting pieces. And not just interesting young players, but some interesting veteran players as well.
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix.
That's what can make them more than just this young up-and-coming team, because they're not like what the Orlando Magic have been for 3 or 4 years, where they have a bunch of young players and they're only now kind of starting to, crest, and it's like, the Houston Rockets are actually kind of the same, where like they have a bunch of young players, although both are now starting to try and add veteran players. Both have added veteran guards to try and bolster their young talent. But the Jazz already have that. Of course, they did trade for Jaren Jackson Jr., but they already had Lauri Markkanen. So they've got a mix of young players and veterans. So that's going to make them an interesting team that I think there will be. Because I've already seen some like headlines and YouTube videos. I haven't necessarily watched all of them, but like people have kind of been noticing what the Jazz have been putting together in terms of young talent. And this is the year where they put the pedal to the metal. Like they're coming on to the front straight, and they're going to go as hard as they can to try and actually make an impact this season. And I don't think it's going to end with a playoff run, but it's going to result in a lot of fun moments. It's going to result in some frustrating moments. There's going to be like a 7-game losing streak at minimum. Like they're going to have a stretch where they just cannot put it together. They're giving up 140 points a game, and some of the key offensive guys are struggling to hit their shots. Keontae George will have a stretch where he shoots like 25% over 5 or 6 games, or Lowry gets hurt and maybe misses a few games, or maybe he struggles, or Jaren Jackson Jr. is like the only player on the team trying to play defense. But they're gonna also have a 6 or 7 game win streak as well. They're going to match a lot of that.
Yeah,
like they're going to be fairly close to 500, maybe slightly above it, if they stay healthy. And so that's going to produce some really fun moments, and really hoping that we can remember those fun moments in this season more than the rough ones. But they also are kind of playing with, like, this is the one year that you kind of get to play with house money, where it's like the negatives, okay, we can pass on those, and then we remember the positive ones, and then it's not until year 2 and 3 where we start to really criticize the negatives that we see, because this is the year where they need to iron out all those negatives. Like
right.
There's going to be a bunch of things, like once you go full bore, like this is when you start to figure out where the cracks are, where all of the issues are with the roster construction. And this is the year where you figure that all out. And then next offseason, you start to lay the groundwork.
Expectations are a lot higher.
Yeah, that's where you start to
But how does it really work together?
Yeah, it's where you start trying to get, once you get to the season, you'll start trying to solve the issues that will pop up, because there will be issues.
Quick text here before we hit a timeout, 6391 texting in. I'm a little disappointed. I'm in Salt Lake for work the first week of March every year, and also splurge on good seats to Jazz games. But this year, both the Jazz and Mammoth are on the road the whole week. Yeah, that first week of March, Utah's in New Orleans, Milwaukee, Orlando, and Washington. And I pulled it up, and yeah, the Mammoth, they're gone that week too. They're in Florida and Nashville. So I don't know what's going on at the Delta Center that week, but
they're probably putting on a concert or something.
There must be something
maybe like
big.
A monster truck rally, or who knows.
It's going to take the whole week. By the way, I did look at the Mammoth schedule. I've got it pulled up. Their first home exhibition game, September 26th. So that's the drop dead date for the Delta Center.
Looks like they start their season a little bit earlier.
Yeah, their season officially gets underway October 1st.
I guess their playoffs did end a little bit earlier, so like they're just like a couple of weeks offset from the NBA.
Their regular season ends April 10th, and the NBA season ends April 11th for the Jazz.
They just spread theirs.
Theirs out more. They don't have back-to-backs.
Yeah.
They give their athletes more time to recover. They're nicer
Hockey's
to their athletes.
Hockey's a more demanding sport in that sense, though.
That is true.
Although basketball, there's a whole discourse about how basketball is like more demanding, like even though they're having more rest days and like people aren't playing 48 minutes a game anymore. There's discussion about how NBA is more demanding on like your joints and things like that, as far as like the number of cuts players make.
And your pace.
Yeah, pace. That's also a big factor in as well, and the spacing. And 639 also noting that I wasn't sure that happened this year, because the NHL added some games this year. I wasn't sure that was going into effect this year or next year, but they're going to 84 games instead of 82.
Interesting. And of course, with note, the big thing on the Mammoth schedule is that game on December 31st with the Winter Classic outside against Colorado Avalanche at Rice-Eccles Stadium, which
be a fun one.
Pretty exciting. Got to take a time out here in the Full Court Press. Would love the discussion to continue. 435-339-0321 here on the Full Court Press.
head on over to Live Young Rentals. Eric didn't tell me which liner it was, or he did tell me, and then I forgot.
I did Live Young last time.
Oh, did you? Oh, well, check out Live Young Rentals again. Which liner was I supposed to do?
You can also check out Birdie's Golf Lounge.
Birdie's Golf Lounge.
Tell us about them, Jason.
Great place. I went there a few weeks ago. Fantastic, air conditioned. There's 2,000 courses available. I picked one in Utah that I hadn't played because I'm boring. I didn't go out of state. I was hoping they had the one random obscure course that my dad grew up playing on, but there's more than 2,000 courses, and they have to cut the line somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But yeah, you can check out Birdie's Golf Lounge, 650 North, 870 West in Logan.
There you go. 435-339-0321 is the Young Power Sports of Logan text line if you want to chime in. As we've been talking about the Utah Jazz, they revealed their schedule for the upcoming season. But shifting gears a little bit, let's talk some soccer. Utah State Soccer started their season. It began last night on the road against a top 25 team. They're at number 15, Kansas. Great way to kind of see where your team is at, challenge yourself against another quality opponent. And unfortunately, they came out on the losing end of that one.
Yeah, losing 2-0. They gave up a goal fairly early on, 16 minutes in, and then gave up one late, 84th minute. So, they were fairly competitive. When you look on the stat sheet as far as like chances created through like shots and things like that, they were outshot 14-6, but and then 4 shots on goal to Utah State did get 3 shots on goal. So they were getting some chances, but just weren't able to control enough of the possession. I was able to watch some of this game, not quite all of it. But Utah State was looking good, but fairly clearly we're playing inferior. I'm not going to say like Kansas is like definitively the better team, but on that day they were definitely playing a lot better than the Aggies. Not in terms of like a blowout, because like you get 1 goal and they held that lead and then just kind of got an insurance goal late. It's like Utah State was somewhat competitive, but again, just not up to the standard of beating a team ranked 15th in the nation. So like there's some like you didn't get routed. So like clearly we know this Utah State team, like they're not a fraud based on what our preseason expectations are. They were mostly playing to those expectations, just not quite at this stage able to take down a ranked team on the road, which, mind you, even the best Utah State teams struggle to take down a ranked team on the road. It's happened, but not that often. So obviously not the result you wanted in the first game, but overall, it's still looking like this is going to be a good Utah State team, and we'll get a better idea. We'll have more that we can find out on Sunday when they host Michigan. And like last year, when they Utah State hosted Kansas last year, a Kansas team that went to the Sweet 16 that kind of set the basis for why this year's Kansas team is ranked 15th. And they played Kansas to a draw last year when they were playing at Bell Field. So like playing on the road, that was tough for them. Playing obviously a really good Kansas team. Utah State's trying to fill in a few spots in their offense and their midfield. So they aren't in their best form of the season. It's nothing like losing to Kansas has nothing to be worried about. No, and they didn't play, really poorly. They played decently well, just not to the highest level of their capability, I believe.
Through 77 minutes, both teams had 3 shots on goal.
Yeah.
Just that one of those got through for Kansas.
Yeah.
Eventually they got one more and they went up 2-0. But Utah State definitely held their own against a very good opponent.
Yeah. So I think that, well, obviously the high end for Utah State in the early season isn't what maybe was hoped, but honestly, I expected Utah State to lose this one either by 1 or 2 goals. I guess keep it within that 2-goal margin, and the second goal only came until the very end. So overall, I think this was you can't call it a positive result, but it is within the realm of results for the team I expect Utah State to be. I expect them to be a really good team. When you play the highest end teams, that's obviously going to be a struggle, and you're going to lose those games. A lot of those games. But as they start rolling through this tough non-conference schedule, I expect them to be more competitive in these types of games because they're going to have other games that are tough like this one. And so I'll expect them to be maybe a little bit more competitive, maybe knock off one of these really tough teams. They're going to get rolling because we've seen Manny Martins obviously have all of his teams in top shape. Not always during the non-conference, because sometimes they've gotten beaten up by the non-conference. But they always, learn what they need to learn in the non-conference, and it prepares them for conference schedule. Because when they get to the conference play, Utah State is always ready for conference play.
Yeah, and another good opponent will be this team will be facing will be in Logan, 7 o'clock on Sunday on Bell Field. It's Michigan coming to town. The first 250 fans who show up get a free pennant, so that's exciting. But Utah State transitioning into the Pac-12 and going up against tough opponents to get things started and to see how well they can do. And Michigan, I couldn't really tell you too much about their soccer success, but they come from they
weren't particularly good last year, I'll say that.
A well-funded athletic department in a well-funded conference. But this should be an opportunity for Utah State to maybe showcase a little bit more of what they can do and hopefully come away with a win. But again, that's 7 o'clock on Sunday, and celebrating 30 years of USU soccer.
Yeah. The
first 250 there get a pennant that also celebrates that 30 years of USU soccer.
Yeah, so it may have sounded like a downplayed Michigan, but they won 6, 8, and 7 last year. They had 6 wins and 7 losses or 8 draws roughly there. I forget their exact record, but they played a bunch of ranked teams last year and were competitive in some of them. Some they lost 3-0 to ranked opponents, but I think they tied UCLA, who I think was ranked toward the top in the nation at that time. So, of course, it is a new year, so it's going to be a new team with Michigan, but you're playing them at home. So this is a game that I would expect Utah State to win. Win or draw at the worst. If they lose, that's when, a loss to Kansas, not a worry for me. If they lose to Michigan, that's a sign that Utah State is not where it needs to be. And that's either a bad sign for maybe the whole season, maybe they're just not as good a team, or it's a sign that they have improvements to make through the non-conference. It's not necessarily going to get any easier or a ton easier. They do start against 2 power conference teams, but Portland, Utah Valley, they're going to be either at Utah Valley, at Utah. Those are going to be tough opponents. Utah Valley is a really solid, kind of those mid-major teams. Utah, despite the fact that Utah doesn't have a lot of really good success in the Big 12, they have still been a really tough opponent, especially on the road. Utah State's really, even some of the better teams were really pushing against Utah on the road, even when Utah didn't necessarily have a good record. And then they're also going to be playing Colorado. They do get to host BYU, so they're going to be able to host the Cougars at home. But yeah, it's this is a tough non-conference game without too many easy opponents. Even when they're not power conference opponents, they still tend to be tough opponents. In the mid-major space.
Yeah, so this isn't the only Utah State team that's been in action. These obviously that was the first official game that counts towards anything for Utah State. But Utah State volleyball was in action yesterday. They took on Grand Canyon. It was an exhibition game, so not a lot of information coming out of that game. They will also play Idaho State tomorrow morning, in fact, in the Estes Center. So if you want to go see what this new volleyball team looks like, this new head coach, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., that's a great chance to go check it out.
Yeah, so that'll be, you want to see what this team is under Keith Smith, that's when you can check out and see the players. Brought in a lot of transfers trying to replace some of the fantastic players they lost. So we'll see what this new era is like post Rob Nielsen.
All right, we got to take a time out here on the Full Court Press. But coming up next, Real Salt Lake. They've been doing well in the League's Cup, and they've also got a new look that they're going to debut this weekend. We'll tell you more about that coming up next here on the Full Court Press. 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. Get ready for the biggest deal hunting event in town. It's the Cache Valley Garage Sale happening Saturday, August 29th. It's from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Eccles Ice Center parking lot in North Logan. Proudly sponsored by DD Auto and Salvage. Shop over 50 vendors filled with furniture, tools, collectibles, home goods. Bring the whole family with you because there'll be food trucks there. Also free kids bouncy houses from Checkett's Amusements. And if you want to sell your stuff, want to look for an opportunity to unload some things out of your basement, out of your garage, out of your attic, you can sign up for a booth today at CacheValleyGarageSale.com. So we talked about USU soccer. They had a game last night. Real Salt Lake has been playing here recently in this Leagues Cup. They've been doing very well in this. They've got another game coming up this weekend, and today they introduced some new drip, as the kids like to say. A new jersey,
Don't
calling
ever
it
say
their...
that again.
Their black diamond jersey. It looks sharp, Jason.
So
I like it.
Let me say this. It is objectively a good jersey. My hesitance, more of an asterisk. And I get that it's the black diamond jersey, but in my head, I'm imagining, and I should have prepared a picture. We can put it on the stream, but just go look on social media, go look at RSL's website. You'll find it. They'll probably put it front and center. So it's a red and black designs, black diamonds. It is objectively a nice looking jersey. I like it. But they're claret and cobalt. And I keep thinking, okay, what if they put the blue instead of the black? And I'm only imagining in my head, I don't know if somebody's done a mock-up. There are people who make really fantastic mock-up jerseys. If I did, I would just go use the bucket tool, and I don't know if that would look good. Or sometimes AI can kind of help you with that. It can help people like me who have no artistic talent. But I'm kind of imagining, would it have been better if they used the blue there? Because it's then it's claret and cobalt, but it's a fresh new kind of take on their jerseys, because you have the classic red and you got the blue kind of, but they also have the gold stripes. Really love those classic jerseys. So it's that's my only hang up, where it's it is a good jersey. I will not fault anybody for what is objectively a good design, but you have your colors, and I feel it could have.
Yeah, but alternate unis always bring in a different look for the team. That's the whole point of an alternate uni. I mean, this kind of borrows from some things we saw with the Utah Jazz.
But you look like Atlanta United. That's my if you make a good jersey, but then you look like another team. That's my main problem with it.
Some elements of it kind of remind me what the Utah Jazz did a few years back. It's a gradient color scheme. It looks like a mountain, and it goes from a red down to a maroon color, and then eventually fades into black.
Yeah, they were copying the Jazz's homework, but trying to make it not look obvious.
Yes, but I think they look sharp.
Yeah, they do. They look good. I almost no complaints from me, other than the fact that it's could you have used maybe your own colors? There's gold trim in there, but it's what if it was blue? I feel and mind you, maybe if you put in the blue, maybe it looks stupid. I'm just trying to envision in my head. And maybe if you subbed in the blue, it looks dumb, and I'd be okay, no, actually go back. But this is one of my problems when you do these alternate jerseys. You end up looking like a different team. It's the problem I have in the NBA, where the NBA just has zero visual identity anymore. The NFL, there's a visual identity. You turn on an NFL game, you know who's playing.
Yes.
You can tell exactly who's playing. The NBA used to be able to do that. Or on some areas, teams used to wear white jerseys at home, so it was a little trickier.
Unless you're the Chicago Bulls or the Boston Celtics, because they never change.
It's there is a visual identity that has been lost in the NBA that is still present in the NFL. I don't know if there's one in the NHL. I don't know the jerseys well enough. There's some that I can kind of recognize. But from my understanding, they don't do as many alternates. The Mammoth don't seem to have released any, but of course, Team USA keeps trying out different things. So they have zero visual identity, despite having a flag that Americans love to utilize in color schemes. But Team USA can't settle on anything. Although, to be honest, USA's flag is not really conducive to making a jersey out of.
Yeah, it's a little challenging. My only beef with this black diamond release that they did today is I really like the look. I think it's sharp. I think it's bold. But when I look at it, I don't know that I think black diamond. Like there's nothing on the jersey that suggests there's a black diamond. It's black.
It's literally the front of the jersey.
There's not a diamond on the jersey. It's a mountainscape. And
but it's got the edges of a diamond. Like when they said black diamond, like
and maybe they're trying to lean it. It's a mountain and black diamond and skiing, but I don't see nothing of that looks like a ski resort to me. Or like
it's red and black
diamond type of run that you might see at a resort. So that's maybe my only beef. Like call it something different. Don't call it black diamond if it doesn't really represent anything that you would associate with a black diamond.
Well, I mean, RSL does not have a good history of coming up with names for their jerseys that are actually cool. The white ones with the blue checkered formation, they call that the Grid City uniforms, and it's based off of Utah looking like a grid, which is the stupidest explanation.
Just call it checkered.
Yeah, it's the stupidest explanation for what is otherwise a jersey I really like.
Yeah,
I like that
fine.
checkerboard. It's a
Just
great.
Don't call it something
and
different.
it utilizes their colors. Like it's a good away kit where you tend to have to go a little less color. It's usually white, but you put the blue on there, and it looks great. You're utilizing your colors, but this looks more like a home kit where it's like, obviously the one dominant color, but then you have another very predominant color in the jersey. And again, great jersey, but you're utilizing a color that's like not part of, obviously, basically every color scheme in the world technically has black somewhere in it usually.
Right.
It's like a third or fourth or 18th color.
It's an accent color.
Yeah, it's always kind of there. Like I think technically one of Utah State's colors, I think is technically black, but it's like your third or fourth after blue, gray, white, and all that. But like, unless you're like a team where it's like your first or secondary color, like don't have it be the predominant color, because like again you're literally like one of the team nicknames is like after the colors. They are the claret and cobalt. Like that is like the colors are so ingrained into the team identity that it's one of their nicknames. And you have a jersey where like you could have incorporated that other color into it. So I should probably try and see if there's a mock-up, but I don't want to knock it too bad because I do actually like the jersey.
The only other recommendation I would have made is that if you're going to go call it black diamond and you really want to evoke the mountains and connect to Utah's ski culture, then do what the Utah Jazz did when they had a similar gradient jersey. On the side, they had the path from Salt Lake to
I-15.
Moab. They had I-15
You want them
sketched
to map
in there.
out
map out a legitimate
route?
black diamond run at one of your iconic ski resorts that are just up the hill from where you play.
Do you think the black diamond would have maybe been a better name if instead of the red, they used the blue to kind of evoke winter and skiing and whatnot? Have a cool color instead of a warm color. Still with the black, although my opinion, black and blue don't actually go that well together, but you can kind of make it work.
There are ways to make it work.
Maybe have a white course. I don't think we can't have two white and blue jerseys, so maybe you're kind of hemmed in there. But it's like, I don't know. But
I mean, it looks sharp. It just slightly misses the mark.
Yeah, it's just
there's an opportunity to take it just a little bit further. To see it all the way
Atlanta
through.
United are like kicking themselves over this jersey concept that does their jersey colors better than they do. Although Atlanta's jerseys tend to be all right anyway.
So we will see them in these jerseys on Saturday.
Yeah, so I'll get a much better, because obviously you got to like look and see what it looks like on the field. And I think it'll look sharp, but I'm going to wonder why I'm watching a different RSL team. That's my only complaint. Like everything else about it is great. We've got to get to the text line though before we hit a break. 0366 saying, so I guess you don't like the Aggies black uniforms. No, I don't. I don't like the Aggies black uniforms.
I do. I think they look sharp. They don't have the great track record.
It doesn't go well.
Success rate.
It doesn't go well with blue. It's not one of their primary colors. Like, do the jerseys look good? I mean, in an objective sense, they're fine. Like the basketball jerseys actually were okay, but like, and I hated it when BYU did their blackout jerseys, and theirs is worse because because you try and put like a blue logo on a black football helmet,
it disappears.
It looks atrocious.
Yeah.
Especially when you got these deep, like BYU's almost picks up slightly better because it's a bit more of a lighter blue, and Utah State's is a navy blue. It's like, are they just wearing a blank helmet? It's like, are they wearing the Pittsburgh Steelers helmets where there's not a logo on the one side? It's like, but there's not a logo on the other side either. So it's like I'm not a particular fan of it.
8632 The black diamond with the mountain makes sense because of the term for difficult skiing level and all.
Like the name, obviously that's something they chose from Utah, or at least related to skiing in Utah. I don't think black diamond's a unique Utah term, but
no, it's definitely skiing. That's why you do it. Then
Utah's known for skiing. So like the name works, but like
I don't see. I see a mountain.
Like calling I'll say
I don't
this,
know that I think skiing when I see that jersey.
I'll say that because I criticize the name and compare it to the Grid City. Grid City is an objectively stupid reasoning for the jerseys. Black Diamond is a lot better. Like it actually kind of makes sense.
Because you actually have a mountain.
Yeah, and Black Diamond and skiing and all, like there is something there. And yeah, there's a mountain in the jersey and all that. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I've said most of what I need to say.
Just embroider in gold, just an outline of a diamond. Somewhere on the mountain or above it, somewhere. I don't know. 8632.
I don't think you need
added.
Yeah, I think it's fine the way they designed it, except for the colors.
It says we have the darkest blue in college football. Objectively, why do we need black?
Yeah, like the blue jerseys are great, and for Utah State, where some teams do a blackout, for Utah
it's very
State,
common for teams to do blackouts.
But like
across
the white
athletics.
Yeah, like, and that's where like most teams have black somewhere in their color palette. But for Utah State, white is a lot further up the order, and so do an all-white jersey. Like, they've done all-white in football, and those look really sharp with the dark blue. Like, it works so much better.
It really pops.
In the white. 8632 saying, bring back pewter. And to that, I say, heck to the no. Pewter is an ugly primary color. It is a fantastic accent.
Right.
It is a terrible primary jersey color.
And on that note, let's take a timeout. We need to take one right now.
Best I can do is pewter pants. That's all you get.
Pewter pants. 4-3. Why don't we see pewter helmets ever? I don't think we've ever seen pewter helmets, have we?
I think they've done it. I don't necessarily have a big beef with that. It's just that white and blue helmets are better. Like I said, best I can do is pewter pants. That's all you get.
435-339-0321 here on the Full Court Press. Quick timeout. You're on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Reminder to go check out the bestofnorthernutah.com for all the gold and silver winners and find out where you can pick out your own magazine that celebrates the winners from this year's Best of Northern Utah contest, bestofnorthernutah.com. All right, it's Thursday. Means it's time for Pick 6. Let's predict what will happen this weekend. All right, Jason, you won last week.
Yes, I did.
So you get to set the terms. Who goes first?
I will go first.
All right.
So I have 3 lines that are all NFL, all Aggies in the NFL related.
Okay.
So first off, Miles Davis rush attempts. He'll play Saturday, over under 3.5.
Rush attempts. I'm going to take the over.
I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
Devin Tompkins, all-purpose yards. He's been in as a returner in actual NFL games, let alone maybe preseason games. Maybe the Raiders going to try him out there. Maybe. So all-purpose yards, receiving and returning, 37.5.
I'm going to take the over.
All right. I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
Jalen Royals receiving yards, over under 11.5 for his opener on, I believe it's also Saturday. Yeah, they're playing the Rams.
Receiving yards only.
Just receiving yards.
11.5?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the over.
I'm going to take the over as well.
Okay.
Over to you.
I have one more regarding Miles Davis.
All right.
You had rushing attempts. I'm just going to total yards. Could be passing or not passing.
Maybe.
Maybe. Receiving or rushing. Just total yards for Miles Davis. 20.5.
I'll go under.
I'm going to take the over. In the WNBA, big matchup on Saturday. The Wings versus the Fever. Paige Beckers plus Caitlin Clark. Points. Point total between the two of them. 42.5.
That's the exact line I had in my head. I was like, I'm thinking they're about 42, so where are you going to set it? And I was like, dadgummit. I'm going to go over.
I'll take the under.
All right.
I want to take the over, but I'm going to go with the under. I'll feel okay with that. Okay, and then my last one, big rivalry series this weekend, Cubs and Cardinals being played in Chicago. Matthew Boyd will be on the mound for the Cubs on Saturday. Strikeouts for Matthew Boyd, 6.5.
Under.
I'll take the over.
All right.
And your tiebreaker?
Tiebreaker, IndyCar, they're at Ontario this weekend. Alex Palou, he's just about got the championship wrapped up. Won their last race at Portland. His finish at Ontario, over under 2.5.
I'll take the under.
All right. I'll take the over.
You don't have a choice.
No, I don't.
So you could win or be second, and I'd still be okay.
Yep, you'd still be okay. That's not bad. It's like you put it that high because he's just absolutely dominant. I think he's trying to be like the second person ever to have 4 championships in IndyCar. Pretty crazy stuff.
Hey, we've got some NFL games already in progress.
Well, real quick, 8632 trying to defend the pewter jerseys. See the picture where he shows one where and it's like
for basketball, I'm okay.
I will say it is.
I guess I just had football in mind.
It is not a bad jersey. It is just not the best looking jersey. The Aggie white jerseys and the Aggie blue jerseys just straight up look better.
They pop. Yeah,
they're just better. They do look a little bit better in basketball, but in football they are straight dog water.
We got a couple of games already underway in the NFL preseason. Jordan Love has been under center.
He's been in, and
he's already out.
So 3 of 5 passing for a good old 18 yards. And he's already done Tyrod Taylor's in for him. I forgot Tyrod Taylor was in the league.
Bengals and Lions also underway. They're in the second quarter.
Most important game, Patriots and the Colts.
That's also underway.
Patriots are up 3-0, so there we go. Season's off to a good start.
Bengals are up on the Lions 10-0 already.
Jaylen Brown played in that game yet? I'm going to check. We have like 30 seconds left in the show. Did I say Jaylen Brown?
Jaylen Brown?
Jalen Davis. He hasn't recorded a tackle, so
Not sure.
I don't know
Not
if
sure.
he's been in the game, but he's also a veteran. Sometimes they're skipping preseason games.
Joe Flacco threw a touchdown.
There you go.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back at it again tomorrow right here at 4 o'clock on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.